to the How to Double Revenue in 180 Days webinar. I'm Jen Barnes. This is all about revenue growth. And we're talking well beyond that lame 10% your accountant thinks you should shoot for. Today, we're going to learn the 5 steps in the sales and marketing process, the steps to focus on to push your business to the next level and beyond. And today's webinar has a bit of a skew towards the professional services sector because we know there's a few of you on today's training event. Now, this is not airy-fairy stuff, guys. This is systematic, it's strategic, and it's reliable. Today's presenter is Bruce Donaldson. I'm the kind of hands-on entrepreneur style person behind this operation. Bruce, he's the formal trainer. Over the last 20 years or so, Bruce has been at the cutting edge of education and high-level training, as well as business mentoring. He has a deep passion, not just for imparting knowledge, but seeing it applied and humming like a bird, like a real machine in businesses, just like yours. The first part of today's session demystifies revenue growth. It really breaks it down into the parts that you need to see with your own eyes so that you can replicate that in your business. Then the second half, I'm going to be back. I'm going to tell you my story, how I came about all of this and the results that I had as a business person just like you, applying this very training into my own business. It's kind of illuminating. Then we're going to have a decent session with Q&A. So if you've got any questions along the way, jot them down and we'll handle that at the end. So, okay, folks, let's get your revenue doubled in 180 days. Over to you, Bruce.
Unmuted.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can all hear me fine. Okay, let's get this.
I can hear you fine, Bruce.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Okay, let's get this started. People, when I ask any small business owner what they need most in the business, I get the same 2 answers every time. That is, more clients and more leads. But here's a problem. It isn't what most business owners want. Of course, we do all want more clients, but what does it take to produce more clients? Firstly, we must generate leads, and then we must convert those leads into clients. Now, by breaking down the end result of wanting more clients into its vital components required to generate them, that's namely leads and conversions, we can now put together a specific strategy and plan of action to obtain this end result. So as for revenue, what does it take to produce more revenue? Well, firstly, once you generate leads and convert those leads into clients, those leads will be willing to pay you a specific value for what you sell. So, sale value is the first component in the revenue equation, but it doesn't stop there. You have expenses to pay, and these expenses come directly out of the revenue that you've just generated. So the next revenue component is to consider your margin. How much of that revenue do you actually get to put in your pocket? But we're still not done. If a client only buys from you once, then we're right back to where we started. We now need to generate a new batch of leads and once again convert those leads into clients. Now, what if you could compel your clients to increase the number of transactions they complete with you year after year? Now we have something to build on. Here's the bottom line of this. There are 5 critical steps that every small business owner must address in order to attract new clients and generate more revenue. These are leads, conversions, average sale value, number of transactions, profit margin. So let's back these steps up with some specific numbers to illustrate exactly how this works. In order to explode your profits and create exponential growth, we have to start with a baseline. So this means you have to know your current numbers in each of these critical areas. So first you need to work out exactly where your numbers are right now. Now, once we have them, you can work out what you need to do to explode these profits and make sure you spend your time doing what you should be doing. So, what's your baseline? Let's start with leads. Let's say your current baseline is 1,000 leads per year. Your conversion rate is 25%. This means 1 in every 4 of the people you sit in front of agrees to buy your product or service. So this means you convert 250 of those 1,000 leads into clients. Let's assume your number of annual transaction equals 10. So each of your 250 clients buys what you sell 10 times a year. Let's further assume your average sale value is $100. So 250 clients are buying a $100 product or service from you 10 times a year. Total annual revenue of $250,000. However, we have to subtract out all our expenses: rent, mortgage, salaries, marketing, cost of goods, and so on. In this example, let's assume your profit margin is 25%, which leaves you with a profit of $62,500 annually. The trick is now to find a way to increase each of the 5 critical metrics for your business. There's a bunch of ways we can go about this. This is something we've distilled down into our world-class e-learning system, which houses a multitude of proven ways to do this. They're ready-to-go systems and strategies to help you increase leads, conversions, your number of transactions, your average sale value, and your overall profit margin. So back to leads. The number one issue for all business is lead generation. Most businesses focus entirely on this step. We're doing Facebook, search engine optimization, radio advertising, network it, you name it, we're all trying a lot. They're rapid fire tactics. What if I told you all you need to do is implement one lead generation strategy? Now, there's a bunch of ways we can go about this today, or a bunch of ways we can go about this. Today, I'll cover some of my go-to strategies for each step. Each strategy walks you step by step through this implementation and execution. All you need to do is to apply the information. Now, we have an entire webinar dedicated to this topic, but however briefly. Now, everyone's marketing and advertising today is jam-packed full of jargons and platitudes, mostly talking about their business and services and not about their clients. This is really important. There is only 2 things that your prospects care about. That's the problem they have and they don't want, and the solution they want and don't have. Now, all of our very successful strategies use what is known as the conversion equation. And it looks like this: interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. Now, you have to include all 4 components to get the maximum results from your marketing and advertising. Okay, interrupt your ideal client with an engaging headline that hits them directly in their emotional hot buttons. This is a problem they have and they don't want. Next, we engage them with a subheadline. That's the solution they want and don't have. Thirdly, we need to educate them regarding to how our product or service will solve their problem. And finally, we need to make them an irresistible offer, capturing names and emails, which we can then use in a drip campaign. I'll talk more about that soon. Here's an example of the conversion equation in action. It's a legal website. Is a really nice interrupting headline. What legal impacts will your marriage have? That hits some hot buttons. An engaging subheadline. Do you know your will is invalid when you marry? What else don't you know? Some body copy to educate clients, and finally an irresistible offer, which allows you to capture names and emails of your prospects. Now, these strategies are just a drop in a bucket when it comes to helping you generate all the leads you can handle in your business. But whichever one or more of these strategies you elect to use for your business, we know from repeated experience that every one of our strategies lift lead generation by 10%, even if it's a monumental failure. So let's play with our previous example and look at a 10% lift. So instead of generating 1,000 leads per year, which was our original number, we can now conservatively say you could easily generate 1,100 leads per year. Now that's a measly 8 additional leads per month. Now remember, that's leads, not clients. That works out to just 1 additional lead every 4 days. With 19 powerful and proven lead generation strategies backing this up, would you agree that this is an ultra conservative figure? Now let's tackle the second crucial step, your conversion rate. Okay, your conversion rate is when a prospect becomes a client. They agree to buy your product or service. This simply means you've found a way to compel the decision-making process so they choose you over your competition. Again, there's all sorts of ways we can go about this. Our arsenal of strategy not only attracts quality, perfect leads in volume, and next to no tire kickers, so there's no time wasting, they convert easily from leads into sales more often than not, sometimes close to every time. Then there are pricing strategies. Were your strategies powerful enough to completely remove price from your prospect's buying decision? Can you imagine never having to compete on price again? Suppose you implement a strategy that adds so much value to what you sell, you could double your price, double the price your competition charges, and your prospects won't think twice about paying that amount. Now, after generating a lead, a drip campaign is a great conversion strategy to implement. Drip campaigns are a series of follow-up communications, usually by email or direct mail, and it continually nurtures your prospect until they're finally ready to make a purchase. Do you realise that a typical prospect won't buy from us until they receive a minimum of 6 marketing messages? Now, are you currently sending out a minimum of 6 follow-up messages to your prospects? If you're not, you're leaving an absolute fortune on the table. Now, with the conversion strategy working for you like this, it's possible to increase your conversion rate from our original 25 to perhaps 50%. Look, we've seen way higher than this, I can assure you, but once again, we'll be ultra conservative, ultra dull. Conservatively, you'd have no problem whatsoever increasing your conversion rate by a mere 10%. So that goes from 25% to 27.5%. So now we're converting 27.5% of our 1,100 leads. So this gives us a total of 302 clients. Let's have a look at transactions. Let's implement a strategy or two which will compel our clients to buy from us more often. Now, most businesses completely overlook strategies that produce multiple or many more transactions, and as a result, this is missing out on insanely easy and fast profits. I'm sure you all have heard the phrase, "Do you want fries with that?" It's a classic. Now, this is known as an upsell, cross-sell strategy, and every business, without exception, needs to have this in their arsenal. Now, the philosophy behind upselling and cross-selling is quite simple. Your present customers trust you enough, they've already started to enter into a buying relationship with you. You've already gained their trust, and now you have the opportunity to present them with another level or service or product, something that's been created in their best interests. Upselling means offering a higher grade, quality or size of the item that the customer would be interested in, and this is at the point where the customer is ready to buy. Cross-selling means offering products or services which complement the item the customer is interested in, and once again is presented at the point when the customer is ready to buy. Now, good upselling and good cross-selling always needs to be in the best interest of your customers. It makes perfect sense. Everybody walks away from this a winner. Your customers and you do as well. Now, cross-selling and upselling can be implemented immediately and cost almost nothing to implement and return great results. So, looking back to our original numbers, and once again being very conservative, we could assume with a fairly simple cross-sell upsell strategy like this, easily increase those number of transactions by 10%. So we now go from 10 transactions a year to 11 transactions a year. Let's have a look at average sale value. Okay, this is the price you charge for what you sell. Now, what if you were to implement a strategy or two that would allow you to instantly increase your sales price with no effect whatsoever on your conversion rate? Price is definitely one of the most least understood components when it comes to small business ownership. Let me explain this further. Okay. Suppose you sell a product for $100, the net profit on that product is 15%. This means that after you pay rent, your salaries, commissions, the cost of acquiring the product to resell it, utilities, and all those other expenses that go in your business, you only put $15 of that 100 into your pocket. So what would happen if you could increase the price by a measly 5%? Now, do you realise that this additional 5% is pure profit? Now, typically, there's no additional expenses that must be factored into determining your net profit. In fact, your net profit, when it increases from $15 to $20, is actually a 33.33% increase in net profit. Let's consider a real-world example of this. Okay, let's say you own a health club. You offer a package of health services for $60 a month. You presently have 300 clients enrolled in this program. So this means your total revenue is $18,000. You're operating on a 25% profit margin. So your net profits are $4,500 a month. Now let's say you raise your price by just 4% a month. That's 6.6%. You've just increased your net profit by a little over 26% or $1,200 a month. Now that's going to go a long way against your mortgage or, buy you a nice new flash car. Now people think if they raise their money, they're going to lose clients. So if you're worried about raising, in this case, your price by even 4% may lead to some of your clients cancelling membership to the program, you need to listen to this. As a health club owner, you'd have to lose 63 clients from the program just to get back to your original net profits. In other words, you'd lose 63 clients and it will have zero impact on the original profit. Now, do you really think that 63 out of those 300 clients would drop your program for simply over $4 more a month? Now, especially if you offer more value than any of your competitors. Using the latest pricing strategies and positioning tactics will allow you to raise your prices substantially, far more than 4%. This is without affecting your conversion rate whatsoever. So looking back to our original numbers, with a strategy or two like this in place, you could conservatively, ultra conservatively, increase your original $100 price point to $110. So now your total revenue is increased to $365,000. Now finally, the final step, it's imperative that we look at your profit margin. Everything we've discussed is basically worthless if you're not making a profit on each and every sale you make. We have a number of strategies that dramatically increase your profit margins by leaps and bounds. They're simple strategies to slash costs without affecting day-to-day business operations. Things like accounting, bookkeeping, printing, office supplies, advertising, and other everyday business expenses, which can be dramatically reduced or possibly eliminated by using a barter strategy. That's one of many strategies. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick chat about what we call the 80-20 rule. Do you realise that you can see a huge increase in your profit margins just by properly identifying and targeting your ideal client, what we call your niche market? This ties nicely into the 80-20 rule, and this states that 20% of your clients generate 80% of your total profits. Now, what if you could replace the 80% of your low margin clients with more of the 20% high margin group? You're going to see your margins literally explode. Biggest I've seen was by 16 times, simply by targeting your ideal client. Now, once again, we're going to keep our figures very conservative. Let's say your profit margin goes up by just a lousy 10%. Now that's from 25% to 27.5%. Now we go from an original profit figure of $62,500 to just over $100,000. We now have $100,000 in profit. So can you notice that even a 10% increase across these 5 areas is exponential? Most people think a 10% lift takes your business from $62,500 to just shy of $70,000. Now that's certainly what most accountants look as growth. Now this kind of bottom line isn't too bad, but it's still not killer exponential profits, not from what we've seen. What if we could show you how you could easily increase percentages, and instead of increasing them by a mere 10% as we did in our examples, what if we could turn up the volume and increase them by 50%? 50%. In reality, we've seen much higher than this regularly. But for the purpose of this exercise, let's hang with 50%. What we just saw was one strategy per step, and strategies that were not particularly well implemented and not implemented for long. They're not fine-tuned. Think about this. What if you added another strategy or two into each of these 5 steps? Really tweaked them, perfected them, got them purring along efficiently. Think about having 2 or 3 strategies implemented to increase your leads, 2 or 3 to increase your conversion rates, 2 or 3 implemented that increase your average sale value, additional 2 or 3 implemented that increase your number of transactions, and finally 2 or 3 to increase your profit margins. What's this going to look like? I'll tell you what it looks like. Now, when you consider just one of our upsell, cross-sell strategies alone, this is just one strategy, can produce immediate revenue increases far in excess of 30%, and this is in the month that it's implemented. Sorry, just give me a moment to have a drink of water. Now, after everything we've seen so far, do you think that a strategic implementation program like this, you could easily achieve 1% overall increase per week? Now that's 1% a week. That even gives us 2 weeks off a year for holiday. This equals a staggering 50% increase. Let's have a look at what those numbers look like now with a 50% increase. Well, starting with our baseline of 1,000 clients, we now have 1,500 clients a year. Instead of a 25% conversion rate, we now have a 37.5% conversion rate. This means we have now jumped to 562 clients. These clients now buy from us 15 times a year instead of 10. Our average sale value has gone from $100 to $150. When we put this all together, this brings us up to $1.2 million in total revenue. However, now we have a 37.5% profit margin instead of a 25% profit margin. This gives us $475,000 in profit. So, starting with just $62,500 in revenue, a 50% increase over these 5 basic areas has delivered us nearly $500,000 to our bottom line. I personally think that's a little better. That's definitely exponential growth. I'm sure you'd agree with this. Now, if you've got a blueprint, a program like this can be implemented from where to go in 12 months. Everything takes some time. Our strategic marketing e-learning platform is just a perfect blueprint for this. It's a step-by-step systematic implementation program. So, no matter where your business is now, this is your choice. Do you want an exponential lift in your business of 10, 50%, beyond? Look, whatever you decide, I'm here to tell you point blank that this can be done. It's entirely doable and it can be started today. So I'll throw it out there. Is this a sort of direction that you want to steer your business? Definitely food for thought. Okay, we're going to go back to Jen to give you a real world example. Now, Jen is a founding member of the SmartBiz project, and she comes at this in a deeply practical way. This is because she's lived and breathed it. Now, not only has it revolutionised her business, we've now used it to revolutionise a score of others. Now, over the last 20 years, Jen started, built, bought, sold, franchised, partnered and mentored businesses. Now, what she's going to tell you today is her personal experience when she first implemented this training into her own business, and she'll show you what a difference it made. All right, over to Jen. Jen, you should be on. Sorry, people, technology works great when it's working. Jen, you should be there.
Okay, how's that? Can you hear me?
Can hear you fine.
Great. Good one, thanks. Okay, so like Bruce said, this process completely revolutionised my business, and I was just like you, wondering how on earth I was going to grow my business and grow revenue and grow profits. Now, the process took about 6 months. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you here is my worst case scenario before I'd implemented these strategies, and in fact I only implemented a lead generation, conversion and pricing strategy. I didn't actually get to all of them in that 6 months, but this is the kind of results that changed everything. So the before shot, radio was my main lead generation medium. I'd be spending 10 grand on campaigns that last typically somewhere around 7 to 10 days, depending on the station that I'm on. On a particularly grim worst case scenario, the phone rang 15 times, resulting in one job at 2 grand. Now, it doesn't take much mathematical genius here to work out that that is a net loss of 8 grand, and that, guys, is painful. It was my worst case scenario, but I must say losses and just break-evens were far too typical, I'm afraid. So what I'm going to now show you is once I've gotten a few of these strategies locked into my business, here's what happened. I was spending much less on my radio campaigns. I went about that in a completely different way. And by implementing that conversion equation and changing what the ad said, instead of getting 15 calls and 1 sale, my absolute best result was 137 calls, closing 37 of them. Even hiked up the average job rate to 2.5 grand using a really sweet pricing strategy. 92,500 versus an 8K loss. That kind of result revolutionized my business, and I was able to replicate that again and again and again. it well more than doubled my business in a 180-day period. These strategies, guys, are all about getting way more bang for your marketing buck. So essentially that was about 3 years ago. It would have been, yeah, just over 3 years ago now. Having implemented those systems into that business, I was able to sell it. It was just, it was great. And move on to something that really calls to me. And considering that my original training in life and my qualifications are ironically in marketing, when I realized that I was getting that wrong and just not able to do the right thing in my own business, I've kind of turned into a Joan of Arc for the small business sector. That's why we run these webinars. Our mission is to share this training with as many fellow entrepreneurs out there as we can, so that you too can confidently steer your business through that desperate hand-to-mouth stage and get it to financial certainty. Tell you what, it's been an amazing journey so far. Where we excel at the Smart Biz project is showing businesses how to generate leads in volume, leads that convert easily into sales, and we do that typically by you guys spending far less, in fact usually a fraction of what you're currently spending on marketing and advertising. Can you just shut your eyes for a second and imagine what your business would look like if you dramatically reduced what you were spending on marketing, and significantly, I'm talking galaxies apart, significantly increasing your response rates. You know, these kind of strategies, they actually guarantee to double your response rates, but we've seen far greater than that. Seeing this happen for other businesses gives me a joy I cannot express, and I tell you what, they're pretty happy too. So essentially we apply these fundamentals, the conversion equation, the 5-step profit formula that you've seen today, to marketing and businesses all day, every day. This kind of stuff never misses. It's not just about professional services firms. It's fundamental across the board concepts and strategies that work. Usually, you know, we work with, well, actually, no, we do have it. We've got a couple of larger organisations that we work with, but by a vast majority, we work with small businesses, even a couple of startups that we believe in. We know our stuff when it comes to accelerating business owners through that desperate hand-to-mouth stage through to financial certainty. In fact, we've refined this process to such a point that it's the whole focus of our next book, which opens up a bit of an opportunity for anyone here on today's call. There's a section in this book. It's all about finding any small business owner at least $10,000 trapped inside their annual revenue, annual revenue trapped inside their existing marketing. So it's basically by using these strategies, migrating you from what you're doing now to a strategic platform, we unearth at least $10,000 worth of revenue that's currently stuck in your marketing. It's an amazing process. But because this kind of thing just hasn't been done before, we need substantive research data to back up our claims. So for anybody that's here on today's call, it's a 50-minute, absolutely free, no charge whatsoever, sales and marketing analysis where we unlock this trapped revenue by migrating you into a strategic marketing platform, as well as providing you with the conversion equation calculator, which is an amazing tool. Allows you to predict how successful your marketing is going to be before you actually place the ad or spend a cent on it, as well as a marketing messaging tool that's going to allow you to construct powerful messaging that attracts the right kind of new clients. There's always a catch. And guys, today the catch we have is that we need your written okay to use the research data in this book. Basically what we need is a paper trail. It's not about your name and it's not about your business name. It's just about the sector your business is in, the time it took us to unearth how much in your particular business. We can only take 6 appointments from today's webinar, I'm afraid. So, and it's done on the phone or online. So if you're serious and want to see the financial impact to your business of accelerated lead generation and sales and revenue growth systems, just see the difference it makes to your business, as well as, you know, unlock this revenue trapped in your marketing. Pop your name, actually find your name in the question panel. See the sort of question panel down there in the GoToWebinar tool thing? Put your phone number there. You can put your email address or your phone number, but I tell you what, we have so much trouble with the online reservation system. It's just far better that we do it the old-fashioned way, phone you and book you in for this free consultation. So pop your phone number against your name, or if that's you don't want to do that, just pop your email address. It's fine. We'll get in touch with you and organise you a session time. Okay, so let me see. Let's have a question and answer session now. We've got about 3-4 minutes. In that question panel where you're going to pop your name or your phone number, that's the spot if you want to ask any questions today. So if there's any questions you have about anything covered today, now's the time to ask. Both Bruce and I are here. I had, actually Bruce, while you were talking, I had one come through on an email, and it was about, you mentioned the other webinar training that we have. This is about lead generation in particular. It's about how to create a lead generation system that actually works, how to create a lead generation machine. If you want to register for that as well, yeah, just pop your email address and or mention that in the question panel, and we'll send you a direct link to register for that. And another person came through who's obviously not in the professional services sector because he's in the property development sector. He was wanting to know whether this works for his sector as well. And look, the comprehensive answer here is absolutely. Look, we're having a lot of success in the professional services area at the moment, and I don't know why. It just seems to be the kind of clients we're attracting at the moment. But yeah, these are fundamentals, and it works with whether you're a florist, an online business, a retail business, a property developer, even tradie businesses. These fundamentals work across the board. They're universal. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Questions. Let me get that for that. Questions. Sorry about this. Okay. Any other questions here? Look, it looks like that's all. Look, if you do have any other questions after this and that occur to you, yeah, please just, there's my email address, jen@smartbizproject.com. Guys, if the biggest takeaway today is this: information without application is useless. So a few notes on a pad is not going to change things in your business. If you're sick and tired of blowing your marketing budget on strategies that just don't work well enough, doing this sales and marketing analysis, this freebie consultation, is a no-brainer. Pop your phone number beside your name and see how this works when it's applied to your business, as well as walk away with unlocking at least 10 grand and the conversion equation calculator and the marketing messaging tool. We'll leave this session open so that you can pop your name, find your name easily enough there in the question panel for another few minutes, but unless there's any other questions, and I can't see, oh, hold on, what have we got here? What is that? Bruce, is there anything from you? Would you like to add anything?
No, Jen, I'm pretty much done, I think. It's all pretty complete.
Okay, guys, if there's nothing else on the question front, we'll end today's session. I think we're pretty much bang on time. 1 minute to go. We'll leave this open for another few minutes so you can pop your email address or your phone number down beside your name, and we'll get in touch with you to book in the consult. Okay, guys, have a great day, and here's to your success.